Stopped responding 3 days ago. There's 100,000 homicidal robots. We've been fighting to survive ever since. Don't worry, I do this kind of thing all the time. No stopping me now. Last time I had this much fun, I got deactivated. Try to keep up. Come on, carve them up, Halo. Line them up. Out of my way. Can't hide from me. Spare parts, anyone? I'm just getting started. I'm not only corrected. Onto the scrap pile. I'm getting a beat for this. Don't make it easy for me.
Hold still. Why didn't you make it?
Android Cactus.
Hello, and welcome to Gimpy Bytes. The only place on YouTube that blends disability and gaming into one fine point on the space-time continuum. I am Captain of Gimps, Captain Gimpy, and this is the Zenist of Burros.
Yep, yeah.
Known as Zenburo.
Zenburo, yep.
Yeah. So what you just saw was the trailer for a game called AAC. I like to call it things other than it is. It's technically called Assault Android Cactus, but I like Android Assault Cactus better. Anyway, so as you know, we talk about accessibility and all that stuff on here, and one of the reasons we're talking about this game is because it does a pretty nice job.
Yeah, so from what I've read of this game, is there's no difficulty setting for it. What it does is you play the game. There's no death, honestly. I mean, you have a health bar, but when you die, you just get back up, push back whatever enemies are next to you, and keep going, because the game uses a quote-unquote battery life, so you're on a set time. You're on a time limit.
Like the time limit on my camera that you cannot see.
Yeah, because your characters are androids, and machines need energy and all that.
Yeah, so I'm assuming, because we haven't played the game yet, we wanted to talk about it before we play and then do another episode for the afters. Yeah. So from what I can gather before playing it, there's like a battery mechanic, and like when you kill things, your battery can it acts as like a time limit function basically. Yeah. So you don't die, you just keep respawning, but here's the thing, you respawn and it affects your score, so your mission rank won't be as high, which means it will take longer for you to unlock the extra options, which seem pretty cool. They're pretty cool little additions that don't really make the game different, but there's like a psychedelic filter, there's the option to unlock a static camera and first person mode.
And there's even an option to turn off the heads-up display to challenge yourself more. And another thing about this game was the challenges in getting those high scores, the S+ rank, and not dying and all that, which I feel is something that some video games should try to go for, because what we talk about on this channel obviously is making games accessible to those with
this particular show, not necessarily the channel.
Oh, this particular show is that looking at games that make things more accessible to those with motor impairments or people who are hard of hearing or vision impairment.
People who would typically be societally categorized as disabled people.
Yeah, and one of the things that next video or next week we're going to talk about is what does accessibility mean to these developers versus what we're looking at.
Now, it appears to me from, my poor intelligence and my non-reading of anything, so it's like secondhand knowledge for the Zenist of Burros over there, is that when they thought of accessibility, they're literally thinking of it in the broadest sense. Like, we want as many people to play this game as humanly possible, and some people don't really play bullet hell games, even though people call it bullet hell now. It's hail, as in the shit that falls from the sky that is typically ice, but bullets.
Yeah.
That's what it was originally intended to be named, but it has since morphed because our country does not understand the language which it natively speaks. But that's a whole nother video, not related to gaming. So what they wanted to do was make it as approachable as humanly possible. So they do have some accessibility options that will be included in our next video. It'll probably be a long one because it's going to be a little bit of a review / let's play sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to, the way they approached making it accessible is, they've even said they've given certain characters a playstyle that some would call cheap, and that would be your entry-level character for people who don't really play it, games like that. And then they have a character who has homing missiles instead of like a linear missile fire, and then they have like a full screen laser smashing type character. And all of these things serve two purposes. A, to make the game as easy or as challenging as a specific player wants it to be, and B, to offer some replay value, because, dude, trust me, if you're using a different character to play a game and the playstyle is drastically different, it feels like a different game. Done it.
Yep. I mean, just remember Super Mario Brothers 2 in the American release game.
That's Super Mario Brothers 2, man. Not the song, not what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That was actually taken from a promo game that Nintendo did as a joint venture with another Japanese company. Because Super Mario Brothers 2, what would have been Super Mario Brothers 2, is deemed too difficult for American players, because some dude who used to work in the warehouse was given like VP position for Nintendo of America, and he said this game's too damn hard, I don't like it. So then President of Nintendo of America, who was the son-in-law of the President of Nintendo Japan at the time, Yamauchi, he went and told his Otosan that, like, my American dude over here says this game's too damn hard, we gotta do something. So they reskinned it as a Super Mario Brothers game, but I digress. If you like that sort of thing, I can probably talk about those things for a long time. But there's a dude, there are a couple of people who do it on YouTube, and I'll probably link those just because I find that stuff interesting. Anyway, back to the original game. One of the things I really think is cool is that rather than just making the game super easy, and fans of bullet hell will honestly, like, if you take that approach, and some games have, fans of the genre will be like, oh, this isn't a true bullet hell game. And then people who play games that don't necessarily like bullet hell games, but remember similar style games a la 1942 or Raiden, will be like, this game's too damn hard. So they compromised. Yeah, the game is easy in that you can finish the game without unlocking everything if you completely suck, which, by the way, there is a Steam thread about that I thought was humorous. I'll put that in the description, because some dude was like, well, it takes too long to unlock everything, and it's really hard.
It's really bad.
And then both the Steam community members who are not developers and the developers themselves essentially told the dude, well, it depends on your mission rank. And one dude even added that, well, you can technically, if you're good at the game, unlock everything in one run.
Yep.
So we'll be putting that to the test, because I'm not very good. Although I don't think I suck, although I probably do, because, you know, we overestimate ourselves.
Yeah, I've always sucked at those games, so, yeah.
Yeah, you generally suck at games. That's why we also put this show on a channel called I Suck at Games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we both suck at different kinds of games. But that's what I thought was cool, is that instead of giving away this stuff outright and making the game super easy and then making fans hate it and appeasing new players, they made it to where you will not get the S rank if you continually die, because in spite of not having like a set number of lives or always restarting the level by default when you die, your score will drastically lower, meaning that you will not get the S rank.
Yep.
Which means it'll take longer to unlock all the good stuff.
And I read there is actually an S plus mode where if you die too much or you mess up your combo chain, the game just auto restarts from the level.
So
beginning of the level.
So basically in S plus mode, if you suck worse than S plus, well, you don't finish the game.
So yeah, that's for the hardcore gamers.
So it's a nice way to balance those things out, because a lot of the approach that gets thrown out there a lot when it comes to making a game, air quotes, one-handed accessible, is that you just make the game too easy and then nobody likes it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, on one level the game is easy, but then if you don't like that, you can choose not to play the game that way, and it'll be super freaking hard, and you can still enjoy it. So when we come back with this game again next week, I'm gonna actually attempt to talk about like the accessibility options that they have, the different, because mech things that you use, they're your character, and how, and this would be just our opinion, but how well that whole dual layered difficulty mechanic is implemented. And it looks like a really fun game. I'm looking forward to doing next week's episode already.
Same here.
Yeah, we were both, like, before we shot this, we were both, like, basically on the same page that we wanted to split this game into 2 different episodes. By the way, these dudes, just a shout out to,
Witch Beam?
Yeah,
they're called Witch Beam.
Better names. Witch Beam Games Studios?
I think it's just called Witch Game Studios.
Which game? Beam?
Witch Beam Studios.
Because you said which game, so you confused me.
It reminds me of an actual video.
So, like, they're dudes out of Brisbane, Australia, or Brisbane if you're American, because we do that a lot. And they used to, the 3 members of the studio currently used to be team members at Sega Games Australia.
Yep.
And they kind of came together and decided they wanted to do indie games. This is their first game. Congratulations if you guys watch this video. Like, the first game is, like, really cool to see out of a studio. Kind of tells you, it's like, your introduction.
Yeah.
How are you guys? This is what you like to do. This is what we like to play. Are we a good match? It's like a first date, It's a little awkward.
They've said that on their website they're aiming for that arcade nostalgia, however making it accessible.
Yes, the arcade nostalgia is strong within. Take your arcade joystick and strike me down.
Halloween's coming up, guys, so he's working on the Palpatine impression.
Yeah, because, Palpatine's usually in a chair these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, is that all we have today? Yeah, I think so. I think that's about it. Also, the dudes did a presentation at this past GDC about making games more accessible and balancing it with difficulty. We will link to the 40-minute presentation down in the video description if you are at all interested. And we will keep making videos about this stuff because it's not yet gotten to the point where it's a common topic for discussion in the games industry. It's starting to be, but that's starting.
Yeah.
This was also a topic that was brought up at one of the first GDC panels I ever attended about Yo-Ho-Ho Puzzle Pirates, and it was combined with the topic of player retention, which is not on YouTube because YouTube wasn't that great then. But if I ever find it, I'll let you guys know, because that was one of the first free-to-play multiplayer games that actually had very high player retention and was super accessible. Like, everybody was playing that game because there were puzzles of varying difficulty in that game, and I thought it was pretty cool. It was a nice idea. Yahoo bought it and kind of ruined it. Sorry. But that's how it goes sometimes. Also, sometime in the very distant future, we'll probably put a game of some kind out there that other people did not make. Yeah. I don't know exactly when that is, but I've had a few ideas for a while, and it's time to put my overpriced education from a defunct institution to work. So, with that being said, I have been and continue to be Captain Gimpy, and this is Donkey of some kind.
I have been and continue to be Zenburo.
See, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Yeah, let's see what this is. See, I use this thing to control the cameras, so I don't have to do this. See you guys later.
Yeah.
Hello? I guess I had to do that anyway. Bye.